we're going to get into the Karl-Anthony-Towns stuff.
Yeah.
So that was a huge trade. And it does affect the Detroit Pistons for people that aren't really aware of it. So I'm going to put the trade details on the screen. We can break it down and react to it because Troy Weaver is actually still helping out the New York Knicks, believe it or not. So This is the trade. So the trade was Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and a 2025 first to the Timberwolves via Detroit. Obviously, the Knicks are getting Karl-Anthony-Towns. So I want to kind of get like your reaction. What was your reaction to just that blockbuster trade last night when everyone was just like celebrating the Tigers and Shams just kind of ruined it?
Yeah, so I was celebrating the Tigers, but I saw this and I didn't love it from either team's perspective. I understand Minnesota's side more because it's greedy ownership. I don't agree with it. They're trying to get under the hard cap, but so for them, I can see it. But for the Knicks, I didn't like it originally. I thought they had something really good going, especially with the chemistry. But after it came out that Dante DiVincenzo might have been unhappy in his role, it kind of softened it a little bit. So I can see where both sides are doing it. I think the Knicks have arguably the best starting five, if not the best starting five in the NBA from top to bottom. Their spacing will be much better. But Minnesota is interesting because Karl-Anthony-Towns has been there through thick and thin.
Yeah.
He's been there through everything. And then they finally see success and they're throwing him. It's good on him that they're not throwing him to a bottom feeder. They're throwing him to one of the favorites. But just a very interesting trade and not something I saw coming at all.
Yeah, I was completely surprised. Like when I saw the tweet immediately, I was just like, is this like an NBA Sentinels troll? I was also just like, what? Like, really? Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, that's it?
Yeah.
But and the more you read about it, there was the Dante DiVincenzo stuff where he was saying, like, I don't want to be coming off the bench, which he's probably going to be coming off the bench in Minnesota.
Yeah, I saw that and I didn't understand. Does he think he's starting in Minnesota?
I have no idea. He's a hell of a player. Don't get me wrong. Just really
one
good
of the best
3-point
shooter.
Yeah, incredible 3-point shooter. When I kind of talked about this recently, it's Minnesota. If you look at their salary cap, while Karl-Anthony-Towns was on the roster, that was an incredibly expensive team, and obviously they are going to save some money trading for a guy in Julius Randle who. Not the same type of player when you talk about Cat, who, in my opinion, is one of the best stretch fives in the NBA. They do get a little bit more bench depth with adding a Dante DiVincenzo, and you're going to have a front court of Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle, which we'll see what happens, see if it works. But I think at the end of the day, Minnesota was just trying to save money because they don't want to go into those apron taxes. For the Knicks, I love it personally. I think they're going all in. They've made so many trades. OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges this summer, and Cat. I think they're the biggest threat to the Celtics personally. But how this does relate to the Pistons. Now, if you remember, the Pistons made 3 trades in the 2020 NBA draft. And one of those trades was for Isaiah Stewart. Now, there are still protections on that pick, believe it or not. And the Knicks owned it. And the Knicks sent it to Minnesota. So we're going to break this down. So how this involves the Pistons. So our draft pick this year is top 13 protected. Most likely, unless the Pistons make a trade of their own like this, they're probably going to keep their pick this year. And 2025, I've heard that it's going to be one of the better draft classes with Cooper Flag, Ace Bailey, and much more. 2026, it's top 11. Again, unless the Pistons are, winning close to 40 games, they're probably going to keep that pick. 2027, it's top 9 protected. Who knows? I hope, and I'm sure you probably hope too, that the Pistons are not worried about a top 9 pick in 2027. But if it does not convert, if it doesn't convey, it turns into a second-round pick, and the Pistons will be able to trade a first-round pick in 2028. But were you kind of surprised that Minnesota has that pick now?
Yeah, I mean, it's the never-ending first-round pick. I know there was a lot of talk last year when we traded Bojan and Alec Burks. Like, are we going to get our pick back? This pick is just forever going to haunt us. It's just never going to come back to us. But I really hope that this pick does convey, not this year, but maybe even next year, top 11. I want to see us take that jump, even if it means giving up our first-round pick. Minnesota having it doesn't really affect us that much. But yeah, hopefully we can give Minnesota a pick within the next 3 years, because I don't want to watch 20-win basketball for 3 more years.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like they started rebuilding in 2020,
Yeah.
and like I like Isaiah Stewart as a player, but the fact that there's still protections on this pick and the Pistons were not able to get it back in the Alec Burks and Bojan Bogdanovic and the Quentin Grimes trade that you had mentioned. A lot of people thought we were getting it back. Obviously, the
Yeah.
Knicks had to hold on to it. And it's kind of funny, like that was the only first round pick that was exchanged in that trade. So it kind of tells you how valuable it is, because this pick has been tossed around like 5 times. I mean, I had to actually do some research this morning. I was like, Houston had it, then OKC, then Knicks, now Minnesota. I mean,
Yeah.
it's absolutely insane though. But I think overall it's a pretty good trade for both teams. We're gonna have to wait and see if the Knicks like go all out and make a deep playoff run. But